Ryan Brunn talking to investigators about his pot-smoking habits and the effects the drug has on him. Turns out Brunn found the time to smoke some weed in between being questioned by police and the lie detector test that's still to come. Join me now to take a closer look at Brunn's interrogation as human behavior expert, former interrogator Greg Hartley, also with us, body language expert Patti Wood. Welcome to you both. Greg, let me start with you. Big picture, this interrogation. What are you seeing, and is this some sort of standard approach that's taken in this interrogation? The way the questioning is going on that we're watching.
You know, Vinnie, this is an artful interrogation. If you watch what he's doing, he is even demonizing the machine. Every time he'll say, the machine tells me this tells me that. He's playing good cop, bad cop, and he's the only guy in the room. So he's using that approach. He's using the we know all. He's already started to approach some things to say what happened in Virginia. He's looking at a ton of things in this video to show you that he's paying attention to the person's body language, that he's paying attention to his choice of words, that he's paying attention to simple things that you have no control over, like your respiration and blink rate. All of those things are part of this approach, and he is clearly building a trap for this guy.
Patti Wood, speaking of body language, as we take a look at this interrogation, what are you seeing from Ryan Brunn?
A lot of different cues around the mouth at the very beginning before he has the polygraph test. You think he's so calm, but if you look at the microfacial cues, you see he actually brings down his mouth in microfacial cues of agony and crying, just really forced. Oh my gosh, I'm in pain. I'm in pain, even before the real interrogation.
Even before the real tough questions, right? As you watch him. Hey, Greg, when you get a guy like this, what's the key to getting the information they want? You suspect him, obviously. They read him his rights, so they believe he's somehow involved, knows something here. Well, what is the key to getting the information from this guy?
Well, Vinnie, there are two or three things. First of all, you need to minimize the impact. And you'll see this investigator is artful at it. He makes it less damaging than it would be normally. He's not saying you did this, you did this. He's making it less and less damaging, and so he's minimizing the impact. He's using a few other approaches in psychology. He's looking for things, and to Patti's point, when you're talking body language, you notice this kid holds his brow up when he's trying to convince you of something, and then he drops it as soon as you pick up on it. So he's looking for deviations. He's looking for things that let him know the guy's ready to confess, and there is specific body language dedicated to confession. When a person is going to confess, they typically lower their chin over their throat, protect their throat, and blossom, as we would refer to it, open, to make an opening for you to be able to reach out, touch them, and make a connection. That's what you're after.
Coming up, it's the moment of truth for Ryan Brunn. The investigators say enough is enough and administer a polygraph, a lie detector test. Will Brunn break down and tell the truth, or will the test tell all? Tonight, a rare look inside the interrogation room. We always hear talks about, he took the polygraph, he failed, he passed, he refused to well, this is the way it goes down. This is the investigation for murder of a 7-year-old girl. That's the defendant. He later admitted what he did. He pled guilty, and then he killed himself. Ryan Brunn is his name. Patti Wood and Greg Hartley are back with me. Patti, let me begin with you. A couple things I noticed there. Number one, repeated questions.
Yes.
Went through the same series of questions more than once.
And that does several things for the interrogator. It assures him that the stress is just not about being questioned, but around that particular question. And it gives further evidence as well. So, and you also want to listen each time to how he's responding. What I noticed very significantly is that the interrogator was using a really strong, relaxed voice. And Ryan was responding with a very soft voice. He actually swallowed down a lot of those no's.
Yeah.
So he wasn't doing natural matching and mirroring, and he wasn't doing strong no's, which would indicate innocence.
Ryan Brunn, before the interrogation begins, as he's coming into the room and everything else, let's take a look at that, and then me, you, and Greg will take a look at things that we noticed from that part to kind of understand Ryan Brunn, his state of mind, and what investigators may have picked up from him early on. Let's take a look.
There's a room in here, but it's kind of small, so it's all right.
Just put that there.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit right over there if you don't care, because I'm gonna sit there.
Okay. Well, my electronics.
Just turn it off and put it in the window, and then that way it won't be a.
I figured out that.
Buzzing, vibrating, making noise, and all that distraction.
Yes, sir.
You go by Ryan?
Yes, sir.
RYAN?
Yes, sir.
All right, Ryan, I'm Keith Sizzle. Like I told you, I'm with the GBI. I'm on the polygraph unit. And they asked me to come up here and help them out a little bit yesterday with doing some polygraphs and stuff. So they had some folks that they wanted to do this. You're not the first one that's been in
I
here.
understand.
In fact, they're going through people and talking to them. As you know, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm sure you've been talked to several times.
Just yesterday for a long time.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Patty, I'm no professional. This guy looks absolutely nervous, but then again, maybe anyone would be nervous. You know, you're being questioned in the death of a little girl, murder. We know here, though, that he is, in fact, guilty. So what are some of the things you're seeing in terms of the body language here?
Well, you can see he even does that head adjustment to try to get his head on straight, because when you're really, really tense, the muscles in the back of your neck stretch out and tense up. And you can also see that the face, the flaring of the nostrils, that grimace on the face.
I noticed a lot of flaring.
Fear, trying to get oxygen into his body.
There it is.
In
You
that
can see that.
flight response, he's going into that flight response. He wants to get out of there, so he wants to get oxygen in his body. And also, you see how he's kind of crouched down just slightly. Again, protection from what's about to happen in this situation. Yeah, and you also notice his breathing right high in the chest, showing stress as well. Again, those could be normal for anybody going into that particular situation. But if you're confident that you're innocent,
Might be a little different.
Might be a little bit different.
Absolutely. All right, now the polygraph tells police all that they need to know, but where did the investigation into Ureli Rivera's death break down? Take a look at people's body language all the time. I don't think I've ever seen anyone quite as expressive as this guy is in terms of the things that he's doing, from walking in. Just his neck, I'm uncomfortable here, and then the eyes up, and then the nostrils flaring and everything else. He's a 20-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it, right? A little lack of sophistication. It's like when a little kid is telling a lie. It's the easiest time to tell. Like, how did you know I was lying? Come on. You're 7 years old. We can tell when you're lying. Seems to me it's a little bit easier here because of the immaturity of this killer.
Yeah, and it shows up a lot in his head nods. He has his very jerk back in fear when he's asked the question, as he nods his head no. That is so telling, because you can see the fear even as he pretends, hey, I didn't do this. I'm shaking my head no, but I'm showing you I'm terrified by what you're asking me.
Greg, is it easier if you've got someone who's 20 years old as opposed to 40 years old and has been around for a while and might be a little more experienced? I'm not going to say smarter. I mean, I'd say like a little more experienced in the world.
Streetwise, of course. I mean, the more somebody's been exposed to an interrogator, the more they've seen, as they say, same circus, different clowns. They've seen all of those things before, and then, of course, they get used to it, and it's a lot easier. One key note, and Patty points this out, when a guy is talking and he's shaking his head violently, no, I didn't do that, until he hears the word molestation and his head stops. Really good indicator that that word means something to him. So all of those kinds of things, yeah, they play much better. A child, like you said, will go, I was throwing the ball, and then the dog hit it, and it went through the window, whereas an adult's not going to raise his brow and ask for permission. Right?
Absolutely. Greg, Hartley, Patti Wood, thank you so much. Steve Rogers, I know you're going to stick around for the next hour. Appreciate it, guys and gal. All right. There's still